Eileen.
Hi.
So we're going to keep this to 1 hour. So should we just jump in and introduce ourselves? What I would like to know is, was everybody involved in the October 1st event last year, one way or another? Well, I wonder if you introduced yourself, you would say a word about that event and a highlight or something about it that was like really surprisingly interesting, or something that took you by surprise, or something that stays with you from that event. I'd like to kind of ground us in having experienced that, because I don't think you all know each other. And that would be a good starting off point. Oh, there's Muriel. Oh, yay. Okay. Who would like to begin?
Hi.
Hey, Muriel, you're very welcome. Very welcome indeed.
I
Uh,
can start.
Lori, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, jump in.
Um, a group of us organized making climate prayer flags, and it was a terribly windy, horrible day. And we had about 35 people or something show up. It was about a couple of blocks away from our city hall, and it was city council day. So we all carried the flags. We had long strings, walked over to the city hall, and we were a delegation. We had 5 minutes to present to the city council about Seniors for Climate and the urgency to move forward on climate solutions. Our mayor proclaimed that day Seniors for Climate Day, and he removed a whereas in the proclamation that said climate change is caused by fossil fuels, and we are going to be reducing emissions. And he changed it to our city and the regional district are going to work on reducing emissions. And we have a climate action plan in our city to reach certain targets by 2030, and we're not meeting them. And we also have a corporate energy and emissions plan, which is for the city. We're not meeting those either. So that was probably our big deal, is that we had this great success. There were all of us, there's so many pictures of all of us holding flags in the city council. And so we have work to do. That's basically it. We have work to do. We're going to try to meet again to push our point.
Well,
Thank
the pictures of the flags are just stunning. I'm going to make sure that we send them out to everybody. Thank you, Lori, for that. Okay, shall we just I'll just say who's on my screen. Maybe Anita, and then Linda, and then Susan. Anita, who are you?
I'm in near Perth, Ontario.
Okay.
We have been doing demonstrations on Highway 7 for years for all the different climate strikes and C350 calls for action. And so we decided we'd just do that again because it's what we know how to do. And so I just bring all the signs, park at Shoppers Drug Mart, and then people are told to park elsewhere, and then they come. And we had between 60 and 70 people come from all over Leonard County.
Yeah.
And so we're out there for an hour. We were out for an hour and a half at noon, the noon hour, and we have signs that say honk for climate action. And so I'd say the majority of people do appreciate what we're doing, but then we get some people yelling at us and the pickup trucks roaring by and so on.
Right. Well, that's a great story. So, Amelia and others, I'm just saying that I'm asking people to introduce themselves with a word or two about what they did last year. So we're sort of all starting off having heard a wee bit from one another about where we come from, and maybe some highlight from that event to inspire us. Linda?
I'm from Winnipeg, and I'm with the Seniors for Climate Organizing Support Team. And I was not able to attend the event in October. I actually was out of province, but I comment on the Earth Day rally at our legislative building on Earth Day this year. And I was inspired by the young people, actually. And what I was trying to do is go around in the crowd and introduce myself, talk a little bit about Seniors for Climate, and that we're doing this for you, and etc. So,
I don't know if you've seen the booklet that I made, which is called Tactics for Collective Climate Action. Anyway, I put a picture of your event in my booklet because I thought it was so good. I don't think you're in the picture, but I read
No.
about it, and I'm glad also I'm from Winnipeg, so I have a
okay.
soft spot. Let me see, who did I say next? Susan, maybe you want to jump in. This is my colleague and sister Red Rebel, Susan from Toronto. Say a word to us. Lovely.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. It is so thrilling to be on with you and to see so many others who are interested in finding out about Red Rebels. So we are just delighted as a group to be able to, welcome you into the Red Rebel universe. And we'll be happy to offer you what support you're needing for that. Um, One of the exciting things that happened at Seniors Day last year for the Red Rebels Toronto, we were at the event. We were kind of doing our thing, posing, doing tableau and stuff like that. And David Suzuki came and took a selfie with us. And we were all absolutely thrilled with that outcome. But looking forward to hearing from everybody today.
So we know that you're not committed to anything. We're just talking to each other. But if we can ever do anything for you, we would love that. Anne, would you like to go next? And then Erlene?
Okay, well,
Welcome.
talking about October the 1st, I had a very small action in Quispamsis, New Brunswick, which is a suburban town outside of St. John. And basically what we did was we just met at the local library, we had refreshments, and we live streamed a webinar from Fredericton, the capital city, that was on health effect of climate change on seniors, or how climate change affects seniors' health. And then after that, we had a discussion. So it was pretty small scale. And kind of what came out of that was that in New Brunswick, we're a small province with a small population. And we decided that we would form a team that was a New Brunswick team and collaborate on future actions. So that's what we kind of learned from the whole thing. Or at least that's what I learned from
Last year it was like a launching pad. Like so many people did things that were sort of the base for whatever it is that they're going to do next. So it was kind of, somebody should write a book about this as a national organizing drive. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for being here. Erlene.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm in Vancouver, and last year on October the 1st, we had an arts event that we stressed during the planning of it to try to reach out to people who were not engaged necessarily in climate work. And almost 300 people there, and I would say that it probably at least half of them were not already activists, so to speak. And so we've been trying to figure out ways to keep them engaged, interested, and that sort of thing. And, it's coming along, but it's hard work to keep connected. But we felt that the day was quite successful. And we had 6 hours, and we thought that people might come and go, but most people like for the whole time once they came. So we had films, line dancing, singing, all sorts of arts.
Oh, that's very good. Congratulations. Well, we'll see what the trajectory is for this year. Muriel and then Amelia.
Yeah, hi, I'm Muriel Jarvis and I'm from New Brunswick. So Ann McAllister and I are colleagues. Last October, I organized a rally here in St. Andrews, which is a small town about an hour from St. John. And we had about 75 people come out with placards and banners, and we read poetry. And of course, we got filmed as part of the Later is Too Late film for Seniors for Climate. So that was excellent. And then, as Anne had said, all of the venues in New Brunswick collaborated. So on Earth Day, we all organized a rally in Fredericton in front of the New Brunswick legislature. And that was good because we made so much noise that the premier came out and spoke to us.
God Almighty, God Almighty. Oh, my goodness. So what was so critical about being videotaped for the film?
Oh, because the video that was made was just amazing. It was, I think she's got two versions now, an hour-long one and a half an hour one. But I showed the hour-long one here in St. Andrews, and about 40 people were there who had been part of the rally. And my mother-in-law, who's 98, was one of the people interviewed for the film. And everyone was just I mean, it was an amazing show of energy all across the country.
Well, let's think about this is maybe somebody can put on their can mute themselves. But anyway, Susan and I can say that once when we were doing a Red Rebel thing, we were videotaped by a drone, and then they had it on television. And honest to God, Red Rebels look fabulous from the air. So if there's anything ever that you can imagine, doing something like that this year, I think recording things and showing it back to people, it feeds our hearts in a way, doesn't it, to see ourselves recognized. You feel so invisible a lot of the time. Thank you, Muriel. Amelia from Victoria, welcome.
Hi, yeah, my name is Amalia, and I'm pretty excited about this Red Rebel idea because I'm a dancer. I was a professional dancer, and I've done a lot of street theater and a lot of performative actions in climate and work already. So this seems like very cool to me, although I have some questions. But I've been part of the Seniors for Climate group in Victoria, and last year we did a very ambitious event. There were about 10 of us organizing a huge, I would call it a environmental fair almost. We had a lot of environmental groups, everybody we could think of in town came and set up tents on the big legislative grounds. And I choreographed a dance that was inspired by that logo of the senior handing a globe. We made a great, huge kind of Chinese lantern turned into an earth globe, and we had sort of a wizard in the middle, and a group of older people who did, dancing, kind of folk dancing type stuff, and then little children dancing around the outside. And it was so sweet, and they couldn't use it in the film because there wasn't permission for the children to be filmed. So that was really a drag, but it was quite touching. People cried and stuff. But it was so ambitious that I think it pretty tired out our team, and people wanted to do something smaller scale this year. We also had a tent at the Earth Day, an Earth Day festival in Victoria, and had a game, a kind of climate trivia game, and had face painting, which really drew people there, and storytelling and different things like that, and information. And that was neat because I led a dance there about stopping the pipeline that they're trying to put through BC. And Elizabeth May was there, and we got a photo with her too. That was cool. But yeah, and there's a couple people in our group who have been giving regular talks at seniors' homes about
I'm very proud of all of you because, Susan and I know it takes so much to pull one of these things off. You think, oh, well, we'll just send out a notice, but it does, it takes much more. It's
Yeah.
complicated.
And I
So,
think I'm glad we're doing it earlier because we were almost rained out. It rained just before our event and it was cold and it was
okay,
sketchy. Yeah.
okay. Well, that's very good. Catherine, can you hear us or see us? You're on mute. Okay, well, let us continue. So, who would like to get us started and just talk about what it is you have in mind about Red Rebels? What questions do you have? What do you think it might turn out to be? That something, I don't know, something sort of fascinating that maybe we haven't anticipated. What would be your sort of highest hopes for what this could turn out to be? Because every time we do it, it's something unusual happens that takes us by surprise and I don't know, somehow touches our hearts.
Can you explain what it is that you have done in the past?
Oh, okay. Susan, do you want us to start or can we?
Sure, sure. We've done many things, probably mostly protests, being asked to participate in a protest, such as Grassy Narrows, which is an Indigenous group in Ontario who've been terribly affected by mercury poisoning, and there's a gathering every year. So 2 times a year we've gathered there. And we've also protested with a local group about the Portland's gas plant, which is the worst source of pollution in Toronto. And our premier is hept on having more of these things.
Mhm.
Uh, we've protested at, am I,
So what do you, I know that you protest, so what do you do? Who makes your costumes? How did you decide that? What is your process? Because the pictures are very powerful. But I'm not sure that we'd be able to do it here, but if perhaps you can give more details about your actual event setup sort of thing.
yeah, so we've made our own costumes. There is a pattern that's available from the Red Rebel Brigade in the UK, and we have videos of us making costumes. We've made costume making kind of a party. We pull together people in our group, and we each get different jobs. You're cutting this, you're cutting the skirt. Jane's actually an excellent sewer, so she's sewing things up. Um, and we loved, making our headdresses. That's kind of more of a creative piece there. So we make it fun and part of our affinity building as a group.
And it's not that hard. Like the costumes are themselves are mostly cutting. You get a huge hunk of fabric and you cut out these shapes. We have a perfect pattern that comes from Red Rebels in Seattle, but the headdresses are a thing themselves, and we can show you exactly how to do that. Um, And if you were thinking of actually doing it, a couple of months would be enough to do some costumes, to get a group together and to work up, I'll say a routine, but like how would you promenade? What are some of the gestures? And we've recorded all that too. Or you can hire Amelia bring that because we followed all these videos from the UK. So we do them and we Susan is our leader. Like she leads the parade. And but then we got a choreographer and she has got us doing, kind of wonderful things. And now we sort of know how to do that a bit better because none of us were dancers. Well, maybe one. Um, but there is a very simple formula, and then you kind of embroider it to the extent that you want, but it's really extremely simple. Anne, what did you want to ask or
Yeah,
say?
so I was wondering if what the Red Rebels do is, I got the impression it was like mine and that it was silent. And so I'm just sort of wondering, is that true? And how you use those techniques to convey a message?
Yes.
Susan, can you take
Yeah,
that?
sure. Yes, we are primarily silent. It is, we're really there. We're silent and we're slow. So we're moving slowly, and that really helps draw attention from others to the group. There are gestures that we are doing that convey particular emotions, and we do those in unison. So it is, a choreographed piece that's quite simple. And although Red Rebels started in the UK with a circus group, it actually, most of the members now are ordinary people because they are attracted to this. It is simple to do, and it is a way to express what's going on about the climate crisis, all the feelings that most people are not expressing.
Mhm. And there's this thing about action logic. Like if it isn't sort of obvious what you're talking about, then you're somehow missing the boat. So there has to be really clear signage. We always have flyers and pamphlets that we make up especially for every occasion, I would say, wouldn't you, Susan? We almost always do it about that thing, whether it's International Women's Day, we have our own thing. And then we have a few people who wear black, who walk along kind of beside us. So they're friends. I'm actually one of them. They're called vanguards. And we hand out things and we talk to people because the Red Rebels themselves are supposed to stay doing their thing. So it's the vanguards that interact with the public. And 90% of the time, we are supporting somebody else's action. So we're there in solidarity. And they have lots of signage. And if we have signage in support, we take that too. The thing that we always do, oh, there she is. We have this, see that? That's our giant puppet. That's on a snowy owl, and they're endangered, you might know. And so we have it on a huge pole, and it walks along with us. So we decided on that a long time ago. That was kind of our mascot. Okay, Erlene?
Yes, I think you answered most of what I was going to ask about, how to go about doing this and how to convey the message. I'm also wondering about the fabric, though, just as a very practical thing. Do you order this from somewhere, or where do you actually get the fabric? Because we don't seem to have a lot of fabric stores around anymore.
Well, we order it from Fabricland, and it has a particular name. It's like a crushed velvet. It washes really, really well. It's slightly stretchy, and it's very like it really catches the light. But do you know what is it when you I think it's called the mat. Okay, I can't remember. But you know when you hold a fabric up this way, it looks one way, and then you turn it the other way, and it's like dull or glossy. Is it matte?
Now,
Yes,
Nap, the
nap.
nap. Yeah.
Nap. Okay. Well, we forgot about nap. So sometimes our costumes, like the skirts look this way and the tops look this way. So now we know always cut them in the same direction. It's not very different, but it's a nicety that we forgot about. But we just ordered a bolt and it came and it wasn't that expensive. And it's very, very lovely to cut and to sew because it doesn't shed. When it like on the edge, like it doesn't
Fray.
Great.
Fray.
no fraying, just cut, cut, cut. And it's kind
So
of dazzling.
So if we go on the Fabricland website and just look for red crushed velvet, then it should show
Uh,
up.
we have documented all this stuff. I guess we were hoping for a day like today. We documented everything that we use. What color lipstick? We we just wrote everything out as we figured it out for ourselves. Of course, you could do something very different, but we have the name and number of the fabric.
Oh, okay.
And then we have a special kind of net for our veils because not everything doesn't work. Some of it sort of clings or it doesn't float the way it's supposed to. So we have something like that. It's I think the costumes look much more complicated than they actually are, but it's basically a toga. Like it's a giant thing that goes over your shoulder, and then it's a skirt. And the skirt you just sew up and you have an elastic waist. And then you have a scarf. And then you have this elaborate, oh, and then you have black cocktail gloves. But that's what we decided. We wanted black gloves. Some people wear red. So, of course, you can divert. But it's important to stay with red because some people say, oh, I don't know, maybe red isn't the good color, you shouldn't do red. And we know of two groups that have done something else because for one reason or another, they decided red was too radical or revolutionary or too something. And then they started looking like, I don't know, scrubs. Some people did it in like a soft turquoise, so they would look like the sea or the other water, and they agreed themselves that they looked like scrubs. So it's red. That's it. It's just red. And we had a conversation early on about the red dress movement. And somebody said, well, you might be mistaken for, or look like you're taking over some part of that. So we did. We talked to a bunch of people. And at that time in Hamilton, there was a Red Rebel troop. And one of the leaders of it was a Métis woman. And we talked to her. And she said, your job is to get out there and tell people what's going on. Just get out there and do everything you can to alert people to what's happening. That's your job. Don't worry about anything at all. And then for some time we had three vanguards. The vanguards are the people that wear black and that hand out the flyers and that do the talking. And they were three Métis people, and they thought it was cool. And at first I thought, oh, we're going to go to one of these things and some Indigenous women are going to come and say, get out or something. But nobody did. In fact, people want to talk to us. Tell them, Susan, the last time we thing with Grassy Narrows. And then at the very end, okay.
Yes, so we were at Grassy Narrows this past year and the year before. And the second year, we gathered together. A parade or a march was going to start, and we gathered together to be able to be in front of the marchers and doing tableau, that is, doing the different gestures as people marched by. And the first in the march were the chiefs from Grassy Narrow, the leaders of the protest, and they came by and they were carrying a big banner. And as they got close to us, they started to say, "Oh, you're here! You're here! We're so glad you're here!" It was like the most thrilling, much better than David Suzuki, the most thrilling moment ever, that they really wanted us to be there. So, yeah, that's the reception we've gotten.
Mhm.
Is it all
Muriel,
women?
no,
No,
her husband.
my husband is involved.
Men are very welcome. In the UK, a lot of men are involved.
Jane,
Muriel?
Yeah.
Muriel?
Yeah, sorry, David was saying something?
He was
I was
calling.
just going to say that you've had your hand raised for a long time.
Oh, okay. No,
Well, thank you,
I'm
David.
very patient. No,
That's
I'm
okay.
just wondering about getting started. So Anne McAllister is one of our colleagues, as I mentioned, and she is in St. John. How many is a minimum size that we could get going with? I would think that there would be a number of women here in St. Andrews that might be willing, probably a few in St. John and Fredericton. Could we start with 4 or 5?
Totally. Three or four, I would say. Because you don't want to be lonely. Like you want it's the fun of making the stuff up and practicing your things. You don't want to be too tiny, but three or four would be brilliant. Or three or four at least leading it. If you had three or four saying, okay, here's what we're doing, let's get the fabric, let's do this, let's do that. Um, and then other people can sort of join you. But we're kind of on board, Susan and I, and we could do like a regular phone call. How are you doing? Maybe with all of you. Maybe you could be kind of the international Red Rebels of Canada or something. Because
Well,
just
what I was going to ask is, do you have a manual? You said that you had written down everything. Is it sort of in a manual handbook kind of format?
Yes, we have all kinds of things. We would have like a sort of a things to start off, say, okay, let's just sit down and talk about this. What are the implications? What are the criteria for getting going? Do we have these things ready? Do we want to do these things? That would be kind of an assessment of your own. And then here's some ideas for how to recruit people. Here are some things that describe what you might say to people about what would membership imply. Like, who's going to pay for the costumes, for example? Do they own the costumes if they pay for it, or does it stay like part of the group? What are your expectations in terms of people being involved? Like, all these things are easily resolved. It's just that they're questions, to ask yourselves. But I think starting with the costumes, and telling people, I think you have to tell people, like, you don't have to sign on for life. Like, help make a costume. We'll do a couple of things and see how you feel about it. And we did have quite a shared leadership. I have to say that. Like, I started it up with a friend, and then this Susan and another Susan, they are the co-coordinators now, because it's complicated and none of us are that young. Like, you can't take on more than you can easily do. And we're kind of a bit unreliable because, you think you're made of iron, and then, your spouse gets sick, or I don't know, we can't do more than we can do. So I think it has to be really a gentle kind of a conglomeration of people, and open to what you think and what you say. But um, you'll have a good time, and okay, I could continue with all the things that we can do to help you get started, because we've got newsletters and we've got instruction sheets and all that stuff. Amelia, but Anne, you can speak first. Anne?
Yes, so it sounds to me like you'd be willing to share resources for groups starting up, like
Totally.
resources that you already have.
We have them already at our fingertips. We can send you something today.
Wonderful. And the other thing I was wondering is are there resources on the Red Rebels website? Like, I think there's an international website, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we have our own website, but it's only just getting up and running. But yeah, if you go on the UK website, I mean, there's enough there to sort of sink a ship. A lot of it is like of a very inspirational nature, but the actual practical how-to things, we've kind of gleaned from other places, and we'll make them all available. I think sometimes it's like anything else. Just have a couple of conversations with a group, like a core group of people, and say, here's what we've come up with. Here's a couple of videos, and just show them and just get their feeling. Like, we had on solstice, we did this. We visited Toronto Islands, and we walked in the water, and we sent blessings to the water, and we did different kind of sun salutations, just like on the beach. And we had a photographer with us, and he made a little video. So you'll kind of see sort of what we do, although we weren't there working. Like, we weren't there as a protest. We weren't there like demanding, that the government, collapse or anything. We were just celebrating nature. And, we've got half a dozen videos that are right now up on YouTube about making the costumes, about doing these different protests, etc. David, do you have any questions? How is this striking you?
It always strikes me because I'm an observer. I have seen you perform many, 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 many times.
Hello.
And oh, yes.
Oh,
And so the thing that comes with the Red Rebels is there's a sense of calmness. They enter in and everybody kind of stops what they're doing and looks towards the Red Rebels because it is so eye-catching. And the grace that the movements go in, it's like, yeah, you get a little bit transfixed on watching what they're doing. It's extremely eye-catching and, like I said, really calming. And so any of the messages that they carry along with them get amplified, I think, because of that.
well, there at the time we saw you last, which was the Earth Day, there was a woman there who's done a lot of street theater in New York, And afterwards, she said to somebody, now those Red Rebels, that's real street theater because what they don't perform. They work their way through the crowd. They stop, they do their thing, they keep moving, they engage with the community. They keep moving. Like they are actually of the street rather than, a performance event. So I thought that was interesting. I hadn't thought of it in quite that way. So maybe we'd just say a word about what it feels like to actually do this stuff because a lot of I sent you an article that said something like why I gave up fighting climate change and took the silent treatment. It's something like that. It's an article from the Guardian. You have to read it because it really is true. You're there and you're in this white mask or white face paint, but you're with your group, so you're oddly anonymous. I mean, you're recognizable if somebody really looks, but you're oddly anonymous, and you're trying to keep up with the group. You're trying to be part of the group, and nothing matters. Like you're not worried about anything. You're not self-conscious. You're not thinking of your lines because you don't have any lines. You're just trying to absorb like the feelings of the group, and you're being open and aware of people looking at you, and you're looking at them, and people smile, and sometimes people cry. Can you believe that? Isn't that so, Susan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do, we try to dress together and we come together at the beginning to sort of start to build a sense of oneness in our group. So we might just form a circle together and look at each other's face, to start to know that we're here and we're together. And it is all the things that Jane's saying, there's sort of a loss of individual identity in a sense that you can't become part of the organism of the Red Rebels. And so there is a really fulfilling experience from that sense.
And you're out there with your body. And
Yeah.
there is something about the vulnerability of taking your body outside. Now, Amelia, you would have a better sense of this, but this was like all new to me, except on picket lines. But I think people respond to the fact that you're sort of almost exposing yourself, and they they kind of meet you halfway. And we do get some. Do we ever? Yeah, I guess we do. We do this thing every week. We do a vigil outside of the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, which is in downtown Toronto. We go and stand there every Thursday at noon in our costumes. And then lots of people like from the financial district come by and we press literature on them. And sometimes we get a lot of mansplaining. Does anybody know what that is? Yeah, the other day this guy told us that there's nothing you little ladies can do because it's all controlled from up there. The liberals control the weather. And so we get things like that. Anyway,
Well, I'd rather do a Red Rebels walk than a die-in, which is what I want to do. Or I want to do something more radical than just what we've been doing recently. And I just think that this kind of visual and the seniors, the September 20th is a Saturday, and we have a really huge farmers market and community market, which ends at the city hall.
okay.
And so it would be, in my vision, it would be really great to meet and just walk really slowly through everything because there's visitors as well as residents, and it would be totally shocking. I have a kind of a panels that I would wear that say, our house is burning, we're on fire, and that was left over from 2021 when we were burning up. And I would just walk around and people would really notice it. But doing something like this, knowing that there are people around the world doing the same type of activity, joining together in this collaboration would really have impact. But I think just walking really quietly through our market
Mhm.
would have a really great effect. And I would just love to get your information and be able to present it to the other people. I mean, people in our group, we've made all these flags, and I'm sure that's going to be like a kind of a red line thing. And so we have all of these climate flags that we've already made. Somebody may just say, well, don't want to do performance. We want to just do what we already have. And maybe I would be able to convince a few people to do something like this because it would be so much more impactful, I think.
Well, there's kind of this model, and if you look at the stuff in the UK, it's very formulaic. Like if this is what you do, this is how you walk, these are the gestures, and you can sort of go out of that a bit. But like I think Susan and I are probably the opposite ends of the continuum. This like I would like us to be able to sing, for example, or do other stuff. And Susan does not like that. And I was saying the other day, there's some groups are going to do things about birds and that I thought we could wear like black masks with beaks, and then we would look like cardinals. And Susan said, "You're not getting me in a beak." So that's probably a no. But you know what? It's kind of wonderful that it is so similar all over the world.
Right.
You look at New Zealand,
Recognize.
Japan, everywhere. And they're doing almost exactly the same thing. So
And
Amelia,
people recognize you, Lori, from around the world. When people see you, they say, "Oh, you're Red Rebel." So they do. They do recognize.
had
So
some Europeans. Okay, Amelia and then Anne.
Yeah, no, I think this is a brilliant thing in so many ways. But my concern right now for the Seniors for Climate Day in September is that, if I put my energy into organizing this, like, it'll probably be the main event. Like, I can see how the Red Rebels are very effective at going to other events and protests and sort of amplifying that. But if it's the main, I know you said there's the Vanguard has things to hand out and stuff, but I'm trying to struggle with how to make it so that when people see us, they understand what we're and also just linking it to Seniors for Climate if not a lot of other organizing takes place.
Okay, I'm just going to say Anne and then Anita and then Lori. Okay, Anne, we'll make sure we get an answer to that.
Well, I was wondering if you had an answer for Amalia's question, because mine is kind of related to that. How to link it to Seniors for Climate, and also what message we're trying to convey and what sort of outcome, I guess, or result we expect from conveying that message. Or I'm wondering if you could speak about that a little bit.
Well, I think that we are there on behalf of our love for nature, our love for our children, our love for the whole of all species of the planet. That's why we're wearing this red. And I don't know that we have ever made any impact on the fossil fuel industry or the lenders or the PR firms or government or industry, but we don't, we maybe we'll never know that, but we do know that we have an impact on the people that are around. And if we give them energy and courage and something, like it adds color and texture to whatever it is that other people are doing. And that's why they appreciate it. We're so glad you came. And a couple of times we've turned up at a rally when it was pouring rain, and we have our red umbrellas. And people say, "Oh God, I don't know what we would have done if you hadn't arrived," because you kind of brought the whole thing to life. And then people took pictures, and it just adds like a sort of a humanity. Like we're there out of love. And we're proud of you. We're proud of you doing what you're doing, and we want to be here with you. So that's pretty amorphous, but Anita, what do you think of that? How would you respond to that?
I'm not sure what you're asking me. Yeah,
Is, is that enough?
what I wanted to say was that our April event we actually did at the Festival of the Maples, which is our big, like a street fair in Perth, and we get hundreds or thousands of people out, and the main street is closed off, and one of the other streets is closed off, and there's vendors and all sorts of like mostly maple syrup, but all kinds of other people selling stuff. And our group decided that we were going to try to dance to Staying Alive, and we had trouble getting people to learn it. But what we ended up doing, we were actually invited, well, we contacted the organizers. We were invited to the opening of the whole festival, but there was hardly anybody there in the audience. And then we just played, we had the music playing on a Bluetooth speaker from somebody's phone. And we just kind of danced around, and we had the Seniors for Climate banner. And so afterwards, when we walked back to the booth that we had for Climate Network Lanark, we were walking down the street, and our person with the music was playing the music, and that was the best part of the whole thing. So I think that something like this would be really enjoyable. I'm not sure how it would work without music. How do you walk through a crowd of people without music to let people know that you're coming?
Well, that's a
One
very
of the things, can I answer that, Jane? Like one of the things we did at the Earth Day celebration we were at, on the vice of our choreographer actually, was we broke into twos and threes, and we then came from different places in the area and then joined together and then started a promenade. So that was one idea.
And I've always thought we would like to have a drum. And when you look at the things on the videos, a drum just beating the pace is just a great idea. But we have that now internalized, and we can walk, and we know how far to walk from the person in front of us, and that we're always in step. And we weren't at first, but now we're really good at that. I wish we had music, but we haven't worked that out. And we don't think, oh, I wish we had music, because we are ourself in rhythm. We're almost like a musical instrument. Maybe that's exaggeration to say that, but we propel ourselves forward in a very rhythmic way, and we feel quite powerful doing that.
I had another question too, that in the pictures that I looked at, there were different headdresses for different groups.
Well, we have ones that are almost identical, although people like to put different arrangements of flowers, but they start off exactly the same. But I think there is some license within that. But I think within a team, your headdresses should be pretty much the same. But you can decide, like in Hamilton, there's a group, and they have a lot more foliage. Like they have green things and red things and stuff. But they got kind of spooked. People said, "Oh, we don't like you to be called Red Rebels." So they call themselves the Furies, which I think is pretty good. But if you look at them, they were our friends, and that's in Kingston. Did I just say that? But they call themselves something else, but they have a very, very sort of lots of shrubbery in theirs. So, what can we do? So we've got 10 minutes. What of a practical nature might we do that would just help you decide that whether you want to look further into it or you would like some specific piece of information? Tell us something practical that we can do at this stage. David, does that sound like a useful way to conclude, or would you like something else?
Pardon me. That sounds like a useful thing to do. I'm sure that people here like the idea and want to know more. So Perhaps if you give them some guidance to where the materials are stored
Mhm.
and whether they want to have maybe more sessions on specific aspects if they want to carry forward.
Sure, anything like that. Why don't we just go around and have people say, what would be the most useful thing at this stage? But we're certainly here for you because this would be like the dream of a lifetime because there's something very powerful. This is the thing that has got me through like the worst of the climate thing because I do a lot of other projects. And I have to say they're kind of miserable because they all deal with horrible information that I don't want to know and reading things that I hate reading. But this buoys me up. I wrote to Susan yesterday and say this is the thing that keeps me wanting, that keeps me energized. Like this is worthwhile. This is worthwhile. I'm going to do this for as long as I can because it sort of feeds my soul and it's fun. Like I love the fun of it. And so what can we do for you? Who would like to start? Just tell us something. We're not going to walk away from this.
Okay,
Um,
I'll get started. Muriel from New Brunswick.
Yeah.
I would like the pattern. I'm thinking maybe the first step would be for me to create the costume. Then it might be easier to sell that concept to others if I had a costume that I could show to other potential people what
How
it
many
would look like.
So cool. Absolutely. We can do that today. So how many people do you think you could speak to on this in this regard?
Well, Anne, are you in? Are you interested?
I'm going to go to the Red Ribbon webinar this evening and see what it's like. Like I'd like to compare the two so that I can decide where what I feel I have to offer would be most useful. So
Okay.
that's kind of,
Okay.
I'm on the fence.
Okay. Because I think that there might be some other people in St. Andrews. For instance, there's a group of Raging Grannies here in St. Andrews. And I'm wondering if Raging Grannies might want to become Red Rebels. Is it more impactful to do the Red Rebels than it is to sing for 5 minutes?
maybe it could be Red Rebel singing.
Raging Red Rebels.
Well, we did that once. We were at an evening vigil, and it was quite a small group, and they started up a couple of songs, and there was not enough people, and it was very wispy and thin, and it was like kind of a bit pathetic. And so the Red Rebels, we were just all standing there in our costume. I can send you a video of this. And some of the people knew this song already, and they just started to sing. And we had no idea that there were so many fabulous singers in our group. And in the video, you see people looking down the line saying, "Oh my God, who's that?" And we have this other woman named Jane, and she was just like belting it out. And so everybody was singing along. And I thought, geez, we're so good. And who knows where that will come from. But if you want to sing, I'm not going to say no. But I think they're the kind of people, they're extroverts. They like dressing up. Who knows? They might be just perfect. Okay, who's next? What can we do? Linda, can we do anything for you?
I would just like to know, because I connect with a lot of different people, how to access the materials.
Okay.
And that would include costumes, messaging, all the things you've talked about. That would
Okay.
be helpful.
Okay. Okay. We can do that. Who's next? Erlene, what can we do for you?
Well, I had looked at your website and saw the costume making does look fairly easy, but I had missed some of the details that you're talking about now. So it would be nice to have everything all together. And because I want to involve a group of women that I know that are sort of in their between 50 and 60 and are all still working but have money and do have some time and are creative and but aren't involved in anything and would like to be. So I'm going to try to make it simple for them and to go after them to become involved because they don't think of themselves as elders or seniors yet. And all of this ones that are involved already here are so busy with other activities that we've started that I'm hoping this group will respond because this is a very creative thing.
Well, it's not in the UK, it's not specifically in any way for seniors. It's
No.
just that's how we got started in Toronto because we were all kind of an older age. And because we do have the time. But
We have other than seniors in our group as well.
Yeah.
we have
Well,
a younger groups now, but just want to say one thing, you can pass this on to people. You know, if you're of a certain age and you've spent hours standing on the street corner with a sign and nobody even honks because you're just kind of like, I don't know, totally invisible. I maybe nobody knows what that feeling is, but I've certainly had that feeling. But if you're in a red costume, you feel
it's
that
noticeable. Yeah.
you're noticeable and people are reacting. They're reacting. And I don't think we've ever had a negative reaction, but people are drawn. They're drawn to the color. They're drawn to our vulnerability and that we're clearly there wanting to help, wanting to be there for, and there's a very emotional content to it. Okay, so you tell them that anything you want, you let us know. Muriel, you said, Amalia, what can we do for you, if anything?
Hi, thank you. Well, I would still like to hear a little bit of brainstorming about the specific Seniors for Climate action and, how to really have, I think it would be good if we had a concrete ask of the city or or I think it would be good if we really stood for something like, you know, for that event in particular. So I'd just like to hear some ideas about that.
Laura?
So I was just going to say that having the Red Rebels vision, the image, the power of that, and have the vanguards handing out the information of why we're doing this. That's the call to action. So that would be draw the line. Why are we drawing the line? What you can do. So the posters or the handouts at like a page, which would be 4 by 2 by 2, on the page. So a 4 by, handing out the information to people, which is a waste, but it's one way of getting the information out. We are Seniors for Climate, because it's a Seniors for Climate thing, have the banner as well, and then be handing out that draw the line. What is draw the line? What is our ask?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm really asking you is like,
Oh, well, that's to
what?
come. That's to
Yeah,
come. I think they're working on that. Like we just got the
I see.
poster
I see.
yesterday. There's a Canva poster that can I show it to you? Because they have made a Canva poster about Draw the Line and Seniors for Climate. So it's really great. So I think that's to me, that would be what we're working on over the next couple of months to get that message. What is the message going to look like in the 70, 80 plus communities in the country with 350 and CanRac and Suzuki Elders and everything? We are Seniors for Climate, joining all these groups. Here's the message. The message is we don't have time. Later's too late. That's
And
the big message.
And once you get going, people will come to you. Like the people in Hamilton, the indigenous community decided to destroy a statue of John A. Macdonald. They actually tore it down, and they asked the Red Rebels. Well, it was sort of approved. The city approved, and they led this parade and took down the statue. And they asked the Red Rebels to come and be part of it, to be part of that whole event. And then when the speakers were speaking, they asked the Red Rebels, how would I explain this, Susan, to kind of like do gestures representing when people talked about the pain of residential schools, people did certain gestures, almost like interpretive dance, kind of. They left us, but they never set themselves up to do something like that. But people will come to you and say, we're doing this thing. Can you contribute it? Can you be something? Can you be part of what we're trying to do? But for this sake, I agree. You have to kind of get together with whoever else is part of this larger 350 Seniors for Climate, etc. harmonize your message. Anita?
One thing I'm bit wondering about is like you are using that same fabric, but like I haven't bought clothes in years on purpose to save the environment. And I'm wondering, what do you think about if we made our own costumes about from whatever red clothing that we had?
Well, that this story I was just telling you about the uh, Red Rebels going to work with the indigenous community on this statue. The indigenous, can you come in orange? Because orange is every child matters. Can you come in orange? And they said, well, we don't really have orange, but they decided they would make orange headdresses that all matched. And then people just wore whatever orange they could find. You know, they I don't know whether they went to thrift stores or they just wore orange sort of flowing outfits with these matching orange headdresses. So I'm sure that there are ways you can think of something that suits your values around wastefulness and the use of fabrics. I don't know. What do other people think? I just made that up on the spot.
Well, I think to have the impact, to join with other groups in the world, there has to be that consistency to have that impact. Otherwise, it's what are you and why are you doing this? I think it's easier to do it if it is consistent. I just put the poster that I adapted yesterday in Canva. If you contact Dave or whoever, you can get the Canva link to make the poster. And I'm sure that I know that Seniors for Climate is going to be making material for us to all use to stay consistent with the message for September 20th.
Is that poster the one with the diagonal line saying hold the line? I made that poster.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
thank you very much. I really like it. And thank you for changing the font, Jane.
Yeah.
As it's actually really easy to read now. And so I put it in the chat if you can see it there.
You know what? I'm grateful that you could actually use it because I sent it out as a template, but I hadn't heard anybody say, oh, yes, I was able to go in and make my own words. So that makes me feel good. Okay, good. Now, who have we not spoken to, Amelia? What can we do for you?
Um, sorry. I was just gonna respond to Anita because I have the same concern. Like I don't buy anything new, but I know that I assume we'll probably have to buy that red velour fabric because I think that would be hard. But I'm gonna ask around at dance studios. I know some people who have like theater companies, dance schools often have fabric around that's kind of like that, stretchy fabric. They may have, especially the tulle for the veils that might be available. And I'm going to look around for secondhand before I buy. It could even be that on Facebook Marketplace or something, somebody's selling fabric. I think it would be very hard to get the quantity that's exactly that type, but I think bits, especially for the headdresses, might be able to
If I
be
were you,
available.
I would do the easiest thing. What would be the easiest for one event? Like, what would be the easiest thing
Well,
to do? And
yeah.
then if we really fell in love with each other and wanted to do it, then we could consider how to harmonize our garments. Or
Also, if you do buy new, it's something that would be used hopefully many times. It wouldn't be like a one-off costume. It's something that could be handed off to someone else when you don't want it anymore, whatever.
we have sort of a sharing of the costumes philosophy. Like people do have their costumes, but if they're not going to be around or they can't go to that event, then it's borrowed by somebody else who can. So they're in regular use.
And it sounds like the headdresses are really the ones that you need to make homogeneous so that there's that common look among the headdresses.
That's
So,
true.
in terms of the skirt and the toga, you might be able to make those out of red curtains or whatever, but you should probably get new material for the headdresses, I would think.
Totally. And then people wear their own like long sleeved red t-shirts that goes under, and everybody has to wear black shoes, either black boots or like black running shoes. It's so funny how bad it looks if you've got all these like this look uniform look, and then there's all these little feet going along in like different sneakers and stuff. It doesn't look nice. It has to be black. We're quite hard on each other in that regard. Any further words? So what we'll do, we'll send out the things that we have said we'll send out. But would anybody like to suggest that you might like to get together and have another conversation amongst yourselves? We would be happy to attend, but I mean, it really is kind of like over to you. If you want to continue the conversation with one another, would somebody like to set that up?
I just want to ask a question. If you could have a quick word about the makeup, if you have any tips about that.
Susan, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, we have found that the water-based mime makeup is nicer to work with than the oil-based. It's not as thick. It doesn't stain your headdress as much. The everything is black coal around the eyes, the eyebrows. The eyebrows are very important for expression, so really exaggerating the eyebrows and a nice red lip that kind of goes with the costume. So it's lots of us haven't worn very much makeup for a number of years. So it's a bit of a knack to figure it out how to do it, but sometimes there's usually somebody in the group who can do makeup, and so there's a helping of each other that goes on. And I always have to do my husband.
Would anybody just like to end with just a picture of Susan and their team in costume?
Yeah.
David, do you want to make me a co-host so I can send this picture? I know we're over time, so feel free to.
You can just drop it into the chat.
Can I?
Yeah, you just drag and drop a photo into the chat or a PDF, drag it and drop it into the chat. Are you able to do that?
I just have to see. Okay, I'll just open, message everyone. Is that what I do? Just message everyone?
I don't know. I've always just clicked the document and put it in, just move it over into the chat.
I think David just made you co-host.
I made you co-host, Jane.
Okay, all right. Well, just give me 1 second then.
Can you share your screen, Jane?
Yep, that's coming right up.
Okay. There we go.
Whoa. Oh, beautiful. Inspiring action to save what we love. Oh, wow.
And that's Susan, like in the lower right, I guess. And that's her husband at the far left. And then we're all kinds of people. And some of them are younger and some of them are older, but there's teachers. I think we have 3 doctors, a couple of therapists, a couple of artists, dancers, community activists. But we've grown to, I would say we kind of love each other. Would you say that's true, Susan?
Absolutely.
They're sort of our ballast in the storm.
I think because we all draw joy from this activity, and it's very hard to maintain, the positive, loving emotions with what is going on related to the climate. So this is what does it for us.
When you guys did the costumes, did you do them as a group or did you do them individually at home? Like, did you get together to have like a workshop?
Yes, we did.
And drink is taken.
Oh, yes.
Jane, we can see your chest. Do you want to show us your face again? You're beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, a friend has a schoolhouse and we go like overnight and I take my sewing machine. So I have a serger and a sewing machine. Does anybody sew? Any of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hugely important to have those skills in the group.
Somebody has to do the sewing, but you can borrow other people's friends and relatives. Anyway, it's been a total joy meeting you. Just think, we have this picture of these 400 Red Rebels in Britain that came to a specific event in London. And I've always dreamed of us having 400 people together. So sometimes you guys, fire up, 30 or 40 people each, and then we'll get a train. Get a train, and we'll go across the country,
Yes.
taking on one provincial government and after another. Pow, 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 pow. Bring them all
How
down.
many Red Rebel groups are there across the country right now?
In Canada?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any.
Well, you mentioned Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton set itself up as a whole Extinction Rebellion chapter,
Oh, okay.
of which Red Rebels were just a small part. But they took on too much, and it was too demanding, like as an organization, and they just couldn't carry the whole burden of it. So they disbanded. But a couple of one particular comes always from Hamilton, no matter what we're doing, she joins us. But it was really sad. They just took on too much because you know yourself, any one of these things is quite a lot of work. And
Yeah.
the people in Kingston, they continue, but under the name of the Furies. I can send you pictures of them. Anyway, my darlings, it's been a pleasure.
Maybe the Hamilton ones will send their costumes to Anita.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what? You know what? You people, I'm going to send this to you right this minute because the website for the group in Seattle says we have costumes.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Thank
Thanks so much.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane and Susan.